Are you afraid?
I've always found solace in the wilderness. There's something about being utterly alone, miles from civilization, that strips away the anxieties of modern life. A few years ago, I decided to tackle a particularly challenging backpacking route in a national forest, known for its untouched beauty and extreme isolation. It was a 5-day solo trip, deep into the heart of the woods. My planning was meticulous. I studied topographical maps, checked weather forecasts and packed everything I'd need for survival. A sturdy tent, purification tablets, first aid, high-calorie food, and a reliable compass. My route would take me almost 40 miles past the last trailhead, a place where very few people ever ventured. The first 2 days were incredible. The air was crisp, the silence profound. I hiked for hours, feeling the rhythm of my own steps, the weight of my pack a comforting presence. The only sounds were the rustling of leaves, the distant call of a bird, and my own breathing. It was exactly what I'd sought. On the 3rd day I decided to take a short detour to a remote alpine lake I'd seen on the map. It was off the marked trail, meaning I'd have to bushwhack for a few miles, but the promise of an untouched vista was too strong to resist. I marked my position, tucked the map away, and plunged into the denser woods. The forest grew thicker, the trees closer together. The ground became uneven, covered in roots and fallen logs. It was slow going, and I realized I was making less progress than I'd anticipated. I started to feel the first faint stirrings of unease, a prickle at the back of my neck. It started with a flash in my peripheral vision. A dark shape, too tall, too thin, moving between the trees. I stopped, turning quickly, but there was nothing there, just the ancient silent forest. I told myself it was a trick of the light, a shadow playing games. I continued on, trying to shake the feeling, but the sensation persisted. Every few minutes, I'd catch another fleeting glimpse, always at the edge of my vision, always just out of focus. A figure, impossibly slender, receding deeper into the shadows the moment I tried to focus on it. My heart began to pound. This wasn't a shadow. This was something else. Something was following me, keeping pace just out of sight. I quickened my steps, pushing through the undergrowth, the rhythmic crunch of leaves under my boots now sounding impossibly loud in the oppressive silence. Then, I heard it. A faint, low hum, just at the edge of hearing. It wasn't natural. It was a sound that seemed to vibrate in the air around me, not coming from any particular direction, but everywhere at once. It was a sound that felt ancient, primordial and deeply wrong. I stopped, straining to listen, but as soon as I focused, the sound receded, fading back into the silence. My mind raced, trying to rationalize it away. Wind, insects, anything. But deep down, I knew it wasn't any of those things. I stumbled upon a small stream, its water clear and cold. I knelt down, splashing water on my face, trying to clear my head. The reflection stared back at me, my own tired, anxious face. But behind me, in the shimmering surface, there it was, perfectly clear in the water's surface, just for a split second before the ripples distorted it. The figure. It was standing directly behind me, impossibly close. Its limbs were far too long, too thin, its body a dark, elongated shadow. Where its face should have been, there were just deep, sunken voids, catching no light. I scrambled to my feet, spinning around, but again, nothing. The space behind me was empty, save for the dense trees. My blood ran cold. It wasn't a trick of the light. It was real. It was right there. I started to run, not caring about the trail, just putting distance between myself and whatever that thing was. The forest became a maze, every tree looking identical, every shadow a potential hiding place. The hum started again, louder now, a low, resonant thrumming that seemed to vibrate in my bones. The light began to fade, the forest growing darker, and the hum intensified. It was no longer just a hum, it was a rhythmic, almost musical chant, deep and guttural, a sound that seemed to be pulling me in, drawing me deeper into the woods, away from any semblance of safety. I caught sight of it again, reflected in the shallow puddle I almost stepped in. This time it was closer. Its small, vestigial head, crowned with matted hair like moss, was tilted slightly. And its mouth, that unsettling seam, had opened just enough to reveal them. Too many small, needle-sharp teeth, stacked in multiple, irregular rows. Its dark, shadowy eye sockets seemed to bore into me from the reflection. I cried out, a strangled sound, and forced myself to keep moving. My lungs burned, my legs ached, but the fear was a driving force. The chanting grew louder, more insistent, and I could hear other, fainter sounds joining it now. A rustling of leaves that didn't sound like wind, a soft, padded thudding that seemed to echo the chant. I burst into a small clearing, moonlight piercing the canopy, casting long, distorted shadows. The chanting swelled, surrounding me completely. I looked up, spinning around, trying to find the source. In the metal side of my water bottle, reflecting the entire clearing like a fisheye lens, I saw them. Not one, but many. Gaunt, impossibly tall figures, their limbs too long, their shadowed faces void of light. They were moving, a slow, deliberate procession, circling the clearing, moving just out of my direct line of sight. I clamped my hands over my ears, squeezing my eyes shut, trying to block out the sound, the sight, the sheer impossibility of it all. I counted my breaths, desperate to ground myself, to convince myself this was a hallucination, a terrible dream brought on by exhaustion and isolation. When I dared to open my eyes, it was morning. The sun was just beginning to filter through the canopy, painting the clearing in soft, pale light. The air was still, silent. The humming and chanting were gone. All that remained was the natural symphony of the forest. I was disoriented, my body aching, but miraculously I found my way back to the main trail. I hiked out that day, pushing myself to the absolute limit, not stopping until I saw the familiar paved road. I never looked back. I don't know what I saw in those woods. Was it extreme fatigue? A break from reality brought on by solitude? Or was it something else, something ancient and hidden, that moved in the shadows and lured unsuspecting travelers into its procession? I've never gone backpacking in those woods again. And sometimes, when the wind blows just right, I can almost hear that faint, low hum, calling to me from the depths of the trees.